Hello, everybody. Before Andre speaks, I'd like to just thank a few people here tonight. I'd like to start with our sponsors from tonight's fight, our presenting partner, Corona, Monster Products and No Lee, Jet Lux, Zappos, the Jordan brand, and Shoe Palace. Also want to thank Andre's partners, Pro Subs, Lift, Body Armor, Power Hands. In addition to that, and brand Jordan. In addition to that, I'd like to thank once again Richard Sturm from MGM, Dan Quinn, the general manager of the T-Mobile Arena, as well as Mike went off. Hello. Somebody cut a cord. All right, we're back on. Sorry about that. As well as Sid Greenfied of MGM as well. I'd like to also thank Peter Nelson, who's in the room tonight, for all your support. Peter Nelson of HBO, as well as Tony Walker and the Nevada State Athletic Commission for all their support. And finally, I'd like to thank the members, the key members of Team Ward, James Prince, Josh Dubin, and of course, Virgil Hunter. Tonight you saw a classic fight between Andre and Sergey, a terrific battle, a terrific fight, two courageous fighters. I couldn't be more proud of the man sitting next to me, Andre Ward. The journey that he's taken, the challenges that he's overcome, the adversity that he's overcome. You saw a lot of that in the ring tonight. He is now the light heavyweight champion of the world. And again, Andre, congratulations. Go ahead, champ.
Tonight was a great night. See some sad faces out there. I don't know why, though. There's only fans back there clapping, but maybe it's just me. It was a good night tonight. Obviously, the victory, but I would love to win every fight as a shutout. I would love to have every fight take place where I barely get touched. But you have to win fights like this sometimes. And I talk a lot about the greats because I've studied the sport since I've been a kid. I watched a lot of Sugar Ray Leonard for whatever reason leading up to this fight. Tommy Hearns 1, Leonard Hearns 2, Roberto Duran 1, Roberto Duran 2. And just the mannerisms, how he approached the big fights, how he dealt with adversity. These are things that they had to deal with. So, this is really a notch under my belt. I'm pleased. I'm happy. Of course, again, I would love it to be a shutout and, a dominant performance from the standpoint of the scorecards. But we eked out a tough victory against a guy that a lot of people thought was going to knock me out and stop me. And we did what champions do. We got off the canvas and we got stronger. So I'm happy with the victory tonight.
Straight, right in the middle, Andre. I've got the microphone, sir. Andre, congratulations on your victory tonight.
Thank you.
We've seen, as you said, you participate in many of your fights that are clean shutouts or completely dominating one-sided fights. Tonight, obviously, that was not the case. Did you feel like this was, in your long career, your toughest fight?
The knockdown would cause people to suggest that, but I've been in some tough fights.
Though. You've been down before.
Excuse me?
You've been down before, though, once early in your career.
Very early, yeah. So this is my second time being down, and we got up that time, too. So I don't know. I got to go back and assess it and see. I've been in some tough fights, irregardless of what, it may look like. Some of these fights are really, really tough. They look easy. But this was, obviously one of the tougher ones against a great champion. And I knew this was going to be this kind of fight. I didn't expect this to be a blowout. This guy's 30-0 like I'm 30-0 with 9 or 10 title defenses. He got 3 belts. That doesn't come overnight. This is a guy who's a road warrior. He's gone overseas. He'll go anywhere to fight these champions or defend his championship. So, he's a real fighter, but we showed that, we can eat a big shot and get up. I mean, when he knocked me down, I honestly wasn't hurt. I guess that's what they call a flash knockdown. I just looked up, I was on the canvas, and I smiled. And I said, okay, here we go. Now the fight starts. And I felt like just over the rounds, I slowly broke him down. I felt like he was getting tired. And obviously he didn't want to be inside. And I tried to keep him there as much as possible, but he's a great champion.
One other thing for you, Andre. In so many of your fights, the way you've won has been enough offense, but obviously tremendous defense, a lot of movement, boxing skills. It seemed to me that tonight you really bit down and stood and fought him. Was that part of your plan to try to exchange with him at all, or try to get on the inside and maybe avoid the biggest shots?
I mean, it wasn't the ideal plan. I knew that. I mean, you guys know I'm not a runner. I move the ring, I move around the ring, and I try to, use ring generalship and not have any wasted movements. But after the knockdown, you got to be able to throw the game plan out the window. So we still had a game plan, but Verge did a great job of staying in my ear and telling me we need every single round. And I looked at him in his eye and I responded, and it just caused me to feel like I couldn't leave anything to chance. So that's probably why I was, exchanging more and more flat-footed.
Virgil, could you describe what happened there in rounds 4 or 5 when things started to turn? What he did, no, it's for you, Virgil. Rounds 4, 5, 6, when the things started to turn, what did you see out of Andre, and what was the plan at that point?
Well, earlier, just watching Sergey, he has certain tendencies, and we felt that he would tire down the stretch a little bit and leave himself open for clean shots, and I thought that the clean shots would be the difference. He was aggressive, but I think anybody in here would have to admit that he fought on the back foot more than he's fought against everybody. Andre stood his ground more than anybody, simply was not afraid of him. So when the clean shots started landing, I felt confident each round. He was aggressive, but you have to be effective aggression. And without a doubt, we landed the cleaner punches, but I just wanted to keep him in the fight. Let him know that he was there, keep showing him different things, keep him off balance, and more than anything, counter him when he tried to counter. And we were successful at that at times.
Andre, congratulations, Andre. Way to go.
Thank you.
Do you think about what the judges are scoring these rounds as the fight is progressing? Obviously, this fight was decided by 2 judges giving you the 12th round. What was your mindset in those last 3 rounds about where the fight stood and what you needed to do?
I mean, as a fighter, you have a general sense, but you never know, especially in professional boxing. You just never know. Sometimes you see a fight and you think you know who won, and a judge has it 8 points one way and 8 points another way, so you just never know. So I just felt like I needed every round, and that's what Verge kept telling me, and I trust his eye and I trust his instincts, so I didn't question it. I felt like I had to go out there and somewhat dog him every round and just leave no doubt.
Andre, congratulations on the big win.
Thank you.
Question, after the knockdown in round 2, did you make any adjustments, or the way rounds 3 through 12 went, was that always you and Virgil's game plan?
Again, I mean, I obviously didn't envision getting off the canvas tonight. But I've been in this sport so long. I've been around this sport so long. I've watched this sport for so many years. These types of things happen. And, of course, someone like myself who wins a lot of his fights going away, sometimes you can get spoiled. But I told my wife in the locker room, I said, there's obviously a part of your pride that's dashed and you feel a certain way about it, but, man, I got up tonight. I smiled at the guy that was the biggest puncher in the division. I went up in weight to fight for his belts, and then I went and took the fight to him and closed the show. So I'm proud of myself. Well, we talked about that a little earlier. I mean, the urgency probably caused me to step on the gas a little bit more and just, again, feel like I needed every round. So it did change a little bit.
Andre, back here. Obviously we spoke earlier this week just about how the public perceived you, and I think that the widespread perception was that a lot of your victories up to this point have been because of your skill. Is there any satisfaction that you gain in kind of being able to show maybe this side of yourself as a fighter?
I mean, I know what I have in me, you know, and I know that sometimes the general perception is not always accurate. And, you know, sometimes you get touted as a, you know, a cute boxer or, you know, he's slick, but I know what I have on the inside of me. I know. I've been doing this my whole life, you know. I get hit with big shots all the time in sparring, in fights. Sometimes you guys don't see it, maybe because I don't react or wobble or something like that. But I've been biting down for you know, for all my life. So I know what I have in me. Just sometimes when something like that happens, the masses get a chance to say, okay, well, maybe he does have heart or maybe he is more than just a boxer. But I've always known what I've had in me.
Just one more. In the first few rounds, it seems like he was able to kind of land his jab a bit.
Excuse me?
His jab in the first few rounds, it seems like that was landing quite a bit. Then it kind of seemed like maybe you started ducking a little bit more and maybe taking a step back to avoid it. What is it that you saw that maybe allowed you to kind of find that range?
Oh, man. I don't know, you know. It's just things are happening so fast in there. It's hard to explain, but obviously when you get hit with a couple good power jabs, you know you're not in the right position. Something's not right. But he comes from the Eastern, you know, European system. They keep their hands in place. They don't have any wasted movements. They shoot right where their hands are. And, you know, he's very technically sound. And again, he doesn't waste anything. So feinting a little bit more and making him kind of commit and then countering, letting him, you know, get ready to load up and take that big leap to throw the big right hand, and then stopping him in the middle of that with a power jab. Just little things like that along the way, I think, just got his attention. And then again, just letting him feel me. Like you can feel after you knock a guy down if he's intimidated. You can feel if he's being reluctant, or you can feel if he's got a mentality as if to say, I'm coming to get that back. You can feel it. There's nothing that needs to be said. And I think more than any technical adjustment that I made, he felt me.
Andre, with the Electronic Urban Report, which is EURweb.com, African American News and Entertainment, my question to you is this. First of all, congratulations. You put up a real good fight. There are those in the audience and in the press who believe that you lost. What do you say to those people? And if you should decide to have a rematch, when do you plan to do it?
Well, to the first question, it's a close fight. I can't really argue it. You know, I got to sit down and watch it to really give a clear assessment. He's got fans and supporters. They're not going to agree with the decision. Certain media members aren't going to agree with the decision. It's okay. You know, but I think it's one thing to say a fight was close and I edged it out versus saying that it was a highway robbery, which I think they were up here saying a few minutes before we got up here. And, of course, they're going to do that as well. It's part of the game. It comes with the territory. And, you know, I hope they're just gracious about it because I did what I had to do to win. So I really don't have anything specific to say about that.
Andre, right here in the middle. Just, you know, like you said, you obviously would like to have, you know, blown him out, won every round. But with it being such a close fight, can you just talk looking forward? What does that do for your career to have a fight like this that was really exciting that people wanted to see again? What does that do for your career in terms of more marketable and getting more eyes on you and more people wanting to be interested in what you're doing?
I mean, I think it's good. I mean, I always want to give the fans a great show. You know, they're paying a lot of money to come, pay tickets, flights, hotels. Obviously, this was my first pay-per-view, so they had to pay to see this fight. And, you know, from the feedback that I'm getting, people enjoyed it. So that makes me really, really happy.
Andre, congratulations. You know, you've received criticism throughout your career for, you know, having maybe a less than aesthetically pleasing style, and then this time you had just a great fight. How much do you think this really helps you, especially your first fight on pay-per-view?
I could barely hear you, like the last part.
I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about that. You know, this fight was so much more exciting than maybe some people expected. How much do you think that helps your stock as you try to, you know, rise in the American star, as an American star?
I mean, that's what you guys asked for, so that's what you guys got tonight, you know. It's like Sugar Ray when, you know, he fought Roberto Duran the first time. I mean, obviously that man, Sugar Ray Leonard, has shown heart plenty of times in his career up until that point, but that was the first time that the masses or the media said, oh, he's not just, you know, this cute golden boy. He actually has heart. And it's unfortunate sometimes that you have to get in fights like that to prove that, but it comes with the territory, and, you know, it's okay, man. I'm happy. I'm glad the fans enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And, maybe that'll put some of the critique to bed about this or about that, So I think it's a bonus. I think it's a plus.
Hi, Andre. Congratulations on a huge win. I just have a question for you about inside fighting. It seems to me that inside fighting these days is a bit of a lost art, even at the top level of the sport. And it also seems to be lost on a lot of viewers. And I'd just love to hear from you about why you think that is.
I mean, I don't know why it is, but I'm thankful that Verge, early in my professional career, he had the foresight to start working on my inside game. I can remember when he first started to introduce me to inside fighting, he'd put his body vest on and he'd have his mitts on, and I just rolled my eyes like, man, here we go again. It was just uncomfortable. The things that he was showing me, I wanted to be on the outside. I wanted to be, at range. And all of a sudden, it just started showing up around the Allen Green fight and the Super Six. It started to just show up out of nowhere. And he knew I was going to need that in fights like that and in fights like these. I just think it's not worked on enough. I think that's the thing. But I think, it's always been a special art in the sport. If you go back to the older fighters, man, inside fighting was, a staple. And as you saw tonight, when you're fighting a great champion like Kovalev, who loves range and who wants you in a certain spot, you may have to do something different like we did, which is slip inside and disrupt him and wear him down to the body, which we did. So I don't know if I would have won this fight tonight if I didn't have a good inside game. Well, throughout the rounds, like I just said earlier, he kept me in the fight, and I'm in the moment. I kind of sense and feel what's going on, but I don't fully know. He sees it all. He's on the outside. He's the real MVP tonight because he kept me in the fight mentally, and he just told me he had the right amount of intensity. He told me all the right things tonight. And it's just a beautiful thing. I couldn't dream of working with anybody else or being trained by anybody else. And I give him so much credit tonight for this victory.
Hang on. Andre back here. You were down 5 points on 2 of the scorecards with 6 rounds to go, which makes your comeback without any knockdowns or points deducted in your favor kind of one of the more impressive comebacks in a 12-round decision. At what point in the fight did you feel it was starting to turn your way?
I mean, I knew I was closing the gap. I just didn't know for sure. We see some crazy things in boxing, but I knew he didn't want to fight on the inside. He wanted to hold on the inside. He didn't want to exchange. Every now and again, he'd throw a body shot. So I knew I was becoming effective. I could sense him being drained. I could tell. And, Verge is doing a good job, during the round to remind me, don't let him rest. Don't let him get comfortable. So, yeah, definitely.
Hey, congratulations, Andre. This is
Thank you, Smitty.
This is kind of for you and Verge. At the end of the day, this fight was so close, and the young lady here brought up a good point about the inside fighting, something that you taught me a little bit about in our in-ring. It boiled down to it was really close, but it was about who was doing more of what they wanted to do after the 4 criteria, and I felt you were doing more after round 5 of what you wanted to do. You can talk about that, and I'd like to hear Virgil's comments on that as well. I had it 115, 113 SOG.
I appreciate that, Smitty. Thank you. That's pretty much exactly what it was. I was able to do what I wanted to do, which was dictate mid-range and dictate inside. And again, I know I sound like a broken record, but, these are championship fights. These are, a former champion, a current champion, fighting each other. The margin is slim. It's not always going to be a Picasso type of performance. So you have to find those ebbs, those flows, those niches, and ride them as long as you can. And tonight I saw he did not want to be inside. I saw that I could slip inside quickly. I was trying to break his hold and then work. And we were very effective. I was hitting him with some clean body shots in there. And those body shots with a 10-ounce glove, they're going to drain you. I don't care who you are. And he just slowly went down. So when he tried to make his run, I think in the 11th or 12th, he didn't really have the steam that he wanted to have on the punches, and, it boiled down to who wanted it more. And I think me getting up and him sensing and feeling that he's still in this fight, he's not discouraged, also drained him and took some of his confidence.
Thank you, Smitty. I have to echo what Andre said. It's funny when you have this persona, this crusher persona, and we're willing to engage you on the inside, but it's obvious that they had planned not to fight on the inside at all. Every time, whenever a fighter grabs you in headlocks, he don't want to fight on the inside and holding and pushing and shoving back. If he would have fought on the inside and been what he was supposed to be, we would have saw a different fight. And I don't have no problem saying that. But he did not want to fight on the inside, despite supposedly being the stronger fighter, the nastier fighter, and the bigger puncher. He did not want to fight on the inside. So I told Dre his jab was going to be the most effective punch, and then later on he would get the body shots through and make sure that they were clean. Sergey showed that heart and that aggression, but it wasn't effective aggression after 6. He was just throwing without really thought, not setting up anything. He was just throwing, so he started leaving himself open for clean punches, and I think that was the difference.
Andre, congratulations on your victory, and to you as well, Virgil. It was a very close fight. You won the second half, he won the first half, and he put you down in the first half as well. You did show your boxing brilliance by changing the pattern of the fight. It is being seen around the world as controversial, as you'll see when you look on social media and everywhere. You earned your victory on the judges' card, so you're the champion. Surely now, when a fight is so controversial that it's generated so much interest, these are the fights that generate an even bigger second fight. So we're going to see you fight this guy next for a second time and show how you can dominate him, which you weren't able to do till the latter part of the fight in this one.
Yeah, I think that's a question for James Prince and my lawyer, Josh Dubin, who did a tremendous job of negotiating this fight. I've never ducked and dodged anybody, and honestly, I think a second fight would be a lot worse because I've been in there with him. I know what he has, and honestly, this is no disrespect to him. I don't know how many adjustments he can make. His style is kind of set, but we're going to entertain all offers, and we're going to see what the best decision to make is.
Because you told us in the week, and we clearly know this about you, you like the greatest challenges, and presumably this was the greatest challenge of your career so far.
I think I answered that earlier. I don't know. I mean, it was obviously a challenge, but I've been in some really tough fights, man. I really have. I mean, believe it or not, the Edison Miranda fight was probably one of the toughest fights of my career. And a lot of people on paper write him off, but you got to realize that was an old Grizzly veteran, and he wasn't all the way done. He was on the verge of being done, and he needed a victory against a young fighter like me, probably one of the hardest punches I've ever faced. And that's probably one of the toughest fights that I've ever had in my career. So this was a tough fight, but it wasn't anything I hadn't. I took his punches well. I literally smiled when he knocked me down and got up. And, I think I should get some credit for that, honestly, because he's the big boogeyman at the light heavyweight division. We moved up in weight. We said we wanted to fight him. And we didn't run, we didn't duck, we didn't dodge. We fought him right where he wanted to fight. And we got the victory. So I can't do anything about the controversy. There's close fights, in boxing. And if I honestly felt like I didn't win this fight, if I honestly felt like he got robbed, I feel like I'm the type of person, I'll literally tell you guys, I don't know what happened tonight. I appreciate the judges, but I lost. That's not the case.
We're going to take 2 more questions, but before that, I want to remind everyone the HBO replay of the fight is going to be next Saturday night at 10:35 p.m.
Hey, Dre, congratulations on the win, and I am one of the media members that had you win. And though some of the media members had you losing, does that motivate you at all? I mean, I know you're a level-headed guy, and you don't really let things bother you, but do you want to get back in there and win the next fight in a dominant fashion to kind of, and does being in there with him, after being in there with him, do you feel like you're going to be on cruise control the next time? Or are you going to do something different from the first round on?
I mean, I just said I think that a second fight would be, a lot different and a lot clear cut just because I've been in there with him. I processed his punches. I processed his style. I know what he has. And obviously they're going to try to make some adjustments. He has a great team behind him. But I don't, honestly, there's nothing in me that's like, let me go to training camp Monday morning because I got to prove to everybody I won. I did my job tonight and I won. I got up off the canvas, and, you know, if all three judges have me winning by 1 point, I don't know if they all three can be wrong. So I'm going to enjoy my victory. If there is a controversy brewing, you know, that's unfortunate. People are entitled to their opinions. I'm not going to be upset because one may feel I lost. Hey, you guys feel how you feel. You know, you have that right. And I'm going to go enjoy this victory because we earned it.
Congratulations, Andre. Now, it got kind of rugged and hairy at points. Were you guys content with the officiating, with the refereeing? He let you guys wrestle at points?
Now, I think Bird did a great job. I mean, you can't, it's a fine line. You can't allow the fight as a referee to get away from you, but you also have to let the fighters fight to a degree. And I think he let us work out of some of those exchanges. You know, sometimes he would hit me behind the head, and I'm thinking, Bird, where you at, man? But then, you know, I would come back and rake him across the face with a right hand or something. And so I'm thinking, okay, he's letting us work this out. So I think he did a great job, you know, in live time and in real time. I think he did a tremendous job tonight. Two more. Excuse me? I don't know, man. I don't have a vote. I honestly don't. I hope so. That was the talk before the fight. I hope it doesn't change now. Oh my goodness. They're too big, man. You got to, you know, listen, I've talked about this a lot. I know it sounds crazy. I know it does. But I feel like I have a Roy Jones type of situation in me before my career is over. And I have a great guy to do it with, Mackie Shieldstone, but it's got to be the right guy. I'm not going to let my ego get in the way. There's certain guys you just don't mess with, and those guys are too big. I respect them, but you got to find the right opponent in the right situation. So maybe one day, maybe not, but not those two. I'm thankful for this victory tonight. I'm thankful for my team. My wife, I dedicated this fight to her tonight simply because she's such a road warrior, and she holds the house down. She takes care of,
let's hear it.
She takes care of my family, and she doesn't get any credit, and it's not that she's looking for it, but I want to shout her out tonight for doing just a wonderful job throughout the years, dealing with all the ups and downs, dealing with some of the things that you guys write about. She's got to read it, and you know, she just hangs in there, man, and I would not be able to do what I do. I wouldn't be able to go to camp for 8 weeks without her. You know, it just wouldn't happen. So there is no me without her, and I just want to shout my wife out tonight. Tiffany Ward, I love you, thank you, and we did it, baby.